Star Wars had a super bad little Polly Pocket named Lola. L-O-L-A Lola.
Get the fuck out of my house.
With MakingStarWars.net.
Hey,
Three
internet.
people are laughing.
3 people are cracking up and saw that.
I like it.
Yeah.
You should almost see if you can when he says the F word, just dub in when he says the word force. Get the force out of my house, right?
Well, see,
funny.
here's my dream that I just did not have the strength to bother with this morning. Is I wanted to put Han in this. I wanted to put Leia saying "I love you" in my side, and then on your side in this theme, he says, "Get the fuck out of my house." Han, I love you. Get the fuck out of my house. And if it's in our theme, it'll look like it just kind of pops in. So that's my
Right.
Yeah. I'll get to it eventually, I think.
I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, so today we got a little bit of Star Wars news. I gotta say, I love you, Bespin Bulletin, but boy, you lazy son of a bitch. You lazy son of a bitch. I mean that with love, of course, and as I'm joking, but we've been talking about Fallen Order for weeks now. And me and I are just playing video games, and he's telling me his side of things. I'm not going to say anything yet until his article comes out, but some stuff came out about Fallen Order, and man, Bespin Bulletin's had it. We were just joking yesterday, and somebody else put it out, but he's covering it, so we'll cover it through him. But I can tell you that whatever Bespin says in this thing, I haven't read his article, but I'm assuming if he says what he's been telling me, he's known this for some time. And it does appear that Fallen Order is delayed.
The new game?
Yeah, Fallen Order 2, whatever it's going to be called. Jedi backflip kick, whatever it's
Jedi
called.
delayed.
Jedi delayed, yeah. Jedi stall. Jedi stalled out.
Jedi get the fuck out of my house.
Something like that.
All right.
But
shocking.
Yeah, but we were joking yesterday because he's like, we were talking about making Star Wars Celebration on May 4th when we're gonna do a couple of streams and have some fun info about future Star Wars stuff. And not to get too ahead of myself, but he's like, yeah, dude, just wait till May 4th. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, man. I've already started writing, man. And once I get going, I'm like, let's talk about what's on my mind. Like, I'm that kind of guy. And so we were joking, though. And he's just like, I have the opposite. I can't get started. I'm like, well, together we're the perfect team. But right now, I just was talking to him, and he's writing up his article right now about covering it. So we'll get to that at that point when his article comes out. And today we're going to do a hybrid show. We're going to talk a little bit about the first couple chapters of Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, and I couldn't think of a better reason than it's sort of a hybrid UFO show, if you will, because last night I actually missed this. Yesterday when I had a bad day yesterday, I can't lie. I was just I was pretty angry and at the world. And I was like, fuck the internet. I'm gonna stay off of it. So I wake up today, finally get back on, and this happened. And that's Anakin Skywalker from Hayden Christensen at Skywalker Ranch. He's one of us. Though it means if you go and you use your celebrity to get to Skinwalker Ranch, that's not a casual UFO guy. That's not a guy who just watched History Channel for 5 minutes and then.
Well, I use my celebrity to get to Area 51. Sorry, S4, because I put a rocket engine into a. Yeah, I put a.
Bob Lazar or Captain Crunch?
No, hey, this is Captain Crunch. What are
Okay.
you talking about? I use tasty crunch berries to get to S4 and Skinwalker Ranch. Try my new Skinwalker Crunch. Made with real mutilated cow bits.
Yeah.
If I was good with like a vector program, I can make all those really like fake box covers, you know. I just hate vector, man. I hate drawing points and shit, but I can make like Loki charms and make it look like box art, you know. Like
Yeah.
I can do Skinwalker Crunch.
Are we? But we are okay with Atari Vector Star Wars 1983, right?
Okay. You think Vectrex.
I'm
right?
joking. I'm just making a bad joke.
Vectrex is not the same as Vector.
I know. Valtrex. How about Valtrex?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think it's like a herpes medicine. I don't know. I heard on TV.
I don't have any idea about STDs.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I'm too ugly to get one. So, yeah. Anyway,
as the Joker would say, chances are you got them already.
Santa is watching you. Maybe an extraterrestrial. We can't say, but think about it.
He's halfway to full elderly boomer where he's typing all in caps. Right? Like he's almost there. It's he's getting there.
No, he's like and jingle.
Like and jingle. Ho ho ho. Oh, my prostate. Oh.
Aria says, I sense the 15-second clip coming, or that could just be my frozen pizza in the oven. Yeah, that's what my ex said too. GBS Backer says, cheers, guys. Saw Den name dropping Jason a couple of times in this morning's vid. Damage control? I don't know about that. Let's try and see the best in people. AH says, have you heard anything about the makeup for Hayden as Vader? Yeah. So here was the thing on that side of things on Hayden's Vader in this. It's what you would expect. And so whenever I have gone into those lines of questioning, I've kind of just been, as these are my friends, but treated like an idiot, like in a fun way, but yeah, like what the fuck, like what do you know what he looks like? So, but I get it. I'm there with you. Like I want to know exactly, you know, how the makeup is going to look, but when you see the eye in the tank, that's been the biggest evidence for me that it's just exactly what you would expect. Like literally, I don't even know what to say about it. You know what I mean? But it's what you would expect. So glad to see Hayden back for the Kenobi series. Me too. I'm glad to see Hayden back in just in general. I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of his work in the old Star Wars, and I don't think he got a very fair shake in life because he was doing the job that they told him to do. He was doing the work that the director told him to do. The dude's like in his early 20s. He's not going to go, you know what, George? No, like that is just not going to happen. They would have said, you know what, Hayden, the door. And that was like literally what would have happened. And so, but we've seen him
hit you on the head on the way out.
I mean, we've seen him act in some like Nicolas Cage movies that are complete trash. But when
Jumper?
I thought Jumper was fun.
I was thinking Nick Fury. My bad, not Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Jumper. I don't own it. Like I'm not gonna watch it today or anything. But I thought Jumper was.
I'm not gonna watch it. It's good.
Well,
I don't have to sit through it ever again. You know. Like...
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, not every movie needs to be a lifestyle, right? Just Star Wars. That's what
Remember that when you bitch about the Mummy.
Mm-hmm. See,
taking it to you.
Thing about Jumper is what's like Jumper, what's like the Mummy. See what I'm saying? I have a point of reference for the Mummy and Jumper.
What's like Jumper?
But I don't. But I'm not gonna watch Jumper again either. So it's kind of a
lightsabers. Like,
I mean, It's got Mace Windu in it, I guess. So it's kind of like
They
Revenge of
both
the
got
Sith.
lightsabers. He jumps around. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hoppy, but yeah. So, anyways,
Like my beer.
yeah. But I keep flashing this old book, and all of this just lines up today. This wasn't the original plan for today, but it is kind of how this goes. Okay, so he says unfinished but posted. So we'll go talk about that really quickly about the Fallen Order stuff. Because I trust the Bespin Bulletin more than I trust myself. Don't trust myself anymore. I just don't think I got it. I think I kind of lost it. All right, here we go. Let me share the screen so that way you could read along at
In
home.
Bespin's defense, rare that idea is, if he knew that game was delayed and he didn't mention it, he probably just didn't want to be the guy they blame for it. Because you know how gamers get, man. When you tell them some shit's delayed, they go, "You did it! You delayed the game!" Like, I didn't delay the game. I'm letting you know it's been delayed.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, you probably just don't want to deal with the fucking harassment.
No, I get it. I mean, well, I will say Bespin's comfortable with sitting on things. Get it? I'm joking. I didn't mean that. But Bespin is completely like he's just like, yeah, I got this. Like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. Whereas me is I'm like, if I got it, somebody else got it. I gotta get it out now. Gotta get it out.
2 in the morning, Rob. 15-minute video. Like Ghostbusters, we have to get down the you know,
yeah,
for 200 views.
So hey, I'm cool with being the with being the cool indie band of Star Wars spoilers. But at
Tell
the same
me that
time,
don't look like a Mike Myers mask.
it does look a little like a Mike Myers mask. And I gotta
Come
say, it does. I don't know, something about it has a bit like it reminds me of like a Grand Theft Auto mod or something. The way it looks, like something weird about it. But
Yeah.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order rumored to release in 2023 by Bespin Bulletin. Yesterday, we got a report from Games Beat's Jeff Grubb, accredited journalist and reliable video game insider, that the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order would be available on current generation consoles along with PC. Following that report, Grubb has struck again with a new update. During the latest episode of Giant Bomb Show, Grubb Snacks Jeff spoke about the sequel only being available on current gen consoles and explained one of the reasons why. Quote, one of the reasons they're going to be able to do that, release one current gen, is because it's not coming out until 2023. This game is for sure now not coming until 2023. I guess it's a slight disappointment, but I think we've been preparing for that for the show anytime we talk about it. Every time it comes up, I said they were targeting for 2022, but nobody should really get their hopes up for that. Well, now we can say it's definitely 2023. And yeah, Bespin has been telling me exactly that. So I have no reason. I don't follow gaming, so I don't mean to like throw any shade on like a really credible, highly known person who rocks gaming. You know what I mean? But Bespin has been saying this as well. So I definitely think that. In fact, yesterday he and I were talking, and I was like, "Do you think maybe they're only doing the next gen consoles so that way they can make 2022, like by not optimizing for older systems, that frees up the work?" And he was like, "Yeah, maybe." And then, but now it looks like it's the opposite, as in it won't be out this year. So who gives a shit about current gen? And face forward is what I say. Back in January 2020, I reported that I heard that fall 2022 was the internal aim at Respawn and Electronic Arts for release. And in January of this year, I reported that late 2022 was still the internal aim. But that it's definitely not set in stone, and delay into 2023 is a real possibility. It now appears the slip into 2023 is becoming reality, which I know will disappoint many fans, but it gives those in search of a new current generation console a bit more time to secure one ahead of its release. Thank you. Thank you. Grub,
Thank
also,
you.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
special.
Thank you, masters. Thank you, gaming masters.
I'm also in Casablanca.
Grub also went on to talk about the Star Wars Jedi sequel not having a Star Wars Celebration announcement. He wrote this really quickly to get it on the show. Thank you, Bestman. Reiterating that through the video game does not have a dedicated panel. It'll still make an appearance at the event. You may call back in January, I reported that the team were planning to show the game this year's celebration, something that's been corroborated by other outlets since including Grub. Yeah, that's we've all been hearing that. That was the plan. Apparently not so much now. I would imagine they'll still do like an official big announcement, probably at like the opening ceremonies about the future, or something. They'll probably do a little thing, but I'm guessing that's all we could hope for now. During the show, Grubb also reiterated something I've been saying for a couple of years. The sequel won't have the name Fallen Order or a name in relation to it. Since 2020, I've been saying the sequel will use the Star Wars Jedi name and have reiterated the statement many times. And in the latest episode of Grub Snacks, Jeff said, Star Wars Jedi 2 is sort of the name I'm going with because I'm pretty sure they're going to be dropping the Fallen Order name. So if you want to keep up, and then you could you could tip Bespin if you like his work and you appreciate it. Oh, and I have now been told to refresh this page because he's added updates and some quotes. I'll see if I can find it. I'm not sure, but yeah. Well, I said last week. This is too hard for me. I'm too dumb. Okay. Yeah, because maybe it didn't even refresh. I don't know, but we'll see how this goes. But anyways, yeah. So Fallen Order does not look like it's happening in 2022. So, which is a huge bummer.
Let's be honest, most of these folks aren't going to beat Elden Ring by 2023 anyway. So
I don't even have it yet. I'm still trying to get all of the secret blocks in Lego Star Wars. What do you want from me? What do you want? I mean, we were talking. Me and Bestman were talking yesterday, and we were like, like the first game is definitely a good Star Wars game, but it doesn't necessarily like blow our socks off, to knock our socks off. I'm not like it's the best Star Wars game of all time. But what I will say is that to my 8-year-old boy, that game is the game. You know what I mean? Like that's probably that might be his Super Mario Brothers. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But to make a
tall order.
No, I'm not making an act. I'm saying to him, like yesterday, we were having a long discussion also about pop punk and where it's gone. And I'm like, you know what? You really can't hate on the next generation or the current generation for that first dopamine hit they got out of that music, because that's it for them. It might suck. If they really love music, they will start looking through the history of music and realizing music's not good decade by decade. It's a holistic thing. But that's where I'm going with it is like, for his little kid brain, Jedi Fallen Order was the big dopamine hit, like he'd get out of his like studies that day because we were homeschooling for pandemic. But then he would just be like, oh, I gotta play Fallen Order. And he played through like 5 times probably. Then he got like all the achievements. And I was that way about Super Mario. I remember getting out of school and being like, it's time. And like literally running my fat little ass home, like running, because I wanted to get the most Super Mario in, after school, man. Like it was crack.
I locked the controllers up, so I couldn't use it if I wanted to. Like I did get smart. I managed to trade. I don't know. It was like I think there was a VHS something for a controller, and I hid it under my bed so I could sneak out, plug that controller in at night, right, and put it back. But it took me a couple years to get there.
Azatru says can't say the chat today, but smash that like button. Thank you, Azatru. And thank you, Azatru and Meg and Jason Pemberfoot and Soundwave And if Joel Williamson and Star Wars Santa and our buddy Dale for all being channel members, I appreciate it and love you guys. Thank you. Star Wars makes sense, but we need more silliness in Star Wars games. The fandom is too serious. I agree. And hey, Jason and Rob, Fallen Order was great, and Lego is so much fun too. You know what? I gotta say, I did not care about Lego Star Wars. I was completely buying it for my kids. Now my kids are on their Switches watching YouTube videos, and I am playing it. But they have also realized that if they tell me they want a character, I'll go hunt it down. So I'll do the work.
Right.
And then they just jump on, and then they're like, haha, I'm Sebulba. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was my buddy growing up. I'd make him do all the hard work, and then I drew, like kind of what we're doing here. And then
yeah.
And then but he got all the platinum golds on like Blastcore on the 64.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow that file got deleted. I think my brother fucking did it. So he's like, "Ooh, he deleted it. It's crazy." I'm like, "Well, just do it again." He's like, "Just do it again." I'm like, "Yeah, just do whatever you did again. Just don't get hit. You'll get done pretty fast. Go down the hill really fast. If something gets in your way, turn."
Yeah. So update was a new quote about celebration, he says. So hold on, let me see if I can find it. Celebration.
Across the nation.
Okay, so Grubb also went on to talk about the Star Wars Jedi sequel not having a Star Wars Celebration announced, reiterating that the game does not have a dedicated panel. It'll still make an appearance at the event. Quote, I said this last week, but then Star Wars Celebration put out their agenda and it's nowhere on the agenda. They say nothing about Respawn or that game, but don't worry, it's going to be there, just not on the agenda. It'll show up there. It'll be a pretty big deal. It won't have its own panel. That's exactly what I was expecting. What I was saying. Not from any insider thing, just from knowing how they generally like don't let things drop if they have a reason to not let it drop. And so yeah, I mean, when it comes to a video game, just like we're talking about Zelda the other day, I want my Zelda now, but I'll take my Zelda in a year or two just to have it right. Like, it's just not something. It's something that when it's done right, it's kind of forever. It's right forever. I think that's the Miyamoto quote too. Something about
they rushed a game once. It was called Mario Sunshine, and when you got it, you could tell the game was not finished. It was
I don't like it.
One environment with a bunch of game level. The only part about that game that was revolutionary or super fun was those like 0 level, like the old retro missions you could do, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, this has future, but all this other shit, like, it's one dimensional compared to, not bad, just one dimensional. And so they were like, yeah, we rushed it out to get it, feel bad about it. So
yeah. Mario Sunshine was kind of, for me, it was kind of weird because it kind of broke the spell for me in terms of getting super excited about 3D Mario games. Like, I was like, at that point, I had such high expectations on it.
Well, that's where I was like, when I played it, I thought it was great if that island had gone through 3 or 4 phases, where first you have the water phase, and then everything freezes, and that would change the mechanic, and then everything catches on fire, right? Or molten lava comes out and melts it, and now you got the lava.
Metal Mario on water, fire. Yeah,
and you could shoot out fire, and you could shoot out ice to change the fire. Like there's things you could do with that premise, but it's super you're just cleaning paint up. You're like, okay, this is a bummer. Yeah,
yeah. And I had that summer job. It wasn't any fun. I was
working at Kinko's.
I painted houses with my grandfather. That was my like first teenage job, I'd say. Not my first real job because it was with family. So I guess it still counts though. I worked my ass off. But anyways, yeah. So we'll go back to the Skinwalker Ranch thing just for a little bit because it's fun. Because there's a couple other pictures too. So this is him with that. That's Hayden with the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, and then let me see. I guess that's Hayden flying a helicopter, or in a helicopter. Probably not flying it. It's probably safe to say
he's no Tom Cruise, my friend. And
then there he is inside the command center, the Skinwalker Ranch.
I know that. He's like, I know a green screen when I see it. You know?
Yeah.
It says PTSD in there.
Yeah.
Green.
But yeah, and I think we'll probably end up hitting this book in really in depth in one of the UFO episodes that we do when we do one next. But pretty much like I kind of like I don't know what you want to call it. This is Skinwalkers at the Pentagon is the book that it been reading. I talked a little bit about this stuff before, but there's a couple of moments in it that are the fun stuff, you know. And if you're a huge nerd like me, as you're reading this, you're like, oh, so NIDS and shit like that. But if you don't care about that stuff, the book can be a little bit laborious, a little tedious at times. And even today, even after reading this book and reading the first part of it like twice, the difference between like OSAP and ATIP and all that kind of shit, you kind of go just like, so what? You know what I mean? Like they make like a
Right.
really big deal. It's almost like insider baseball, like Star Wars knowledge about like a scoop about something that's like irrelevant. But to the book's credit, it's supposed to be a kind of a serious book, but to the book's credit, chapter 1 opens with this quote: "There are some things in this world that go way beyond human understanding. Things that cannot be explained. Things that most people do not want to know about. That is where we come in." Bill Murray, Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2. By the
We
way,
be fast and they be slow.
me and my son, we were talking about Ghostbusters VRs coming out. I was like, look, man, we only got 2 Oculus headsets here. I'm excited for Ghostbusters VR when it happens. Are you gonna be too scared? Doesn't like scary stuff. Not a big scary stuff guy. My daughter, she likes that stuff. But I'm like, me and Penny could play it, but I just don't want anybody feeling left out. So I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna do this and stuff, right? And but anyways, we start talking, and we're like, we both decided, and I agree with them. It's super weird that the Ghostbusters logo has never changed throughout the years, except for to add the 2, but that when Slimer became a huge hit, that Slimer didn't end up in the logo. Isn't that kind of weird? Like, it doesn't like Slimer in the logo. Like, wouldn't that have been a very natural progression? Like, I maybe they've done it. I don't have any recollection of ever seeing it though.
The problem is the Slimer likeness is weirdly owned. Like that's a whole problem with Slimer. Like,
oh, wait, really?
yeah, because like I remember reading something about Slimer itself. Like it's known as the Spud in the first movie, but Slimer itself, as you know, it is really a product of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And that's a whole issue, you know, like all those design rights and stuff. So maybe since then Sony has cleared it all out, but for the longest, that's why it didn't happen in the 80s for certain.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It seems like in terms of like marketing, that would have been a much better way of going about this. But luckily, I marked this book up here. All right, so this part right here is kind of fun. So this guy he gets to these scientists. This is before the dude in the photo at the start owns it, and this is back when what's his name owned it. Oh God, I can't remember his name right now. But anyways,
Bob Bigelow,
Bobby B, as we call him around here, before Bobby B owned it.
porn stash, dude.
Porn stash.
It's got that John Waters porn stash going on there.
Yeah. So, anyways, so let's move on. Axelrod said as the trio resumed their journey west. Costigan began scanning the environment. So they're like these like 3 guys are walking, okay? And no one wanted to be the first to mention the alarm they felt. 10 yards further on, the fear had escalated to mortal fear, and eventually Axelrod raised a hand and all 3 stopped. Do any of you feel that? Axelrod asked. His heart began beating madly, the adrenaline surging through him. The other 2 acknowledged they felt intense alarm. All 3 looked around, a full 360 to find what was causing the nameless dread, a fear for their lives that was more intense than they had ever felt. Axelrod raised his arm.
Newsday, folks.
Well, yeah,
Just
this is
letting you
fun.
know.
Hey.
I hear the music.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make it better for everyone. I want everyone to cast Hayden Christensen as Axelrod. There we go. Axelrod raised his arm and motioned forward. By the way, best song. Axelrod raised his arm and motioned forward. All three swallowed and began moving forward. Again, the fear escalated. The three were sweating profusely. Wait, Costigan whispered hoarsely, and his trembling hand pointed directly westward on the track. 50 yards ahead of him, the ghostly outlines of three old homesteads were now in view. But Costigan was focused on something else. Directly ahead of the trio on the track, Costigan's night vision scope showed an oval area of blackness, about 8 feet tall, surrounded by the night scope normal green color. It was as if, Costigan said later, all light had been extinguished in that dark oval shape. Costigan felt the black structure was radiating a menacing presence. Neither Axelrod or Wilson could make out anything definite in the gloom, but as if in psychological agreement with what Costigan was seeing, they instinctively acknowledged that the source of their fear was 50 yards further down the track. And then it goes on to say, each one convinced that continuing towards the dark oval shape would lead to certain death.
I want a new drug.
Yeah.
One that won't make me sick.
Yeah.
One that won't make me crash my car. Make me feel 3 feet kick.
It's fun. No, it's fun. I mean, it sounds, I mean, like I think you could look at the stuff from like a couple of different perspectives, and obviously the most obvious and first way is that shit's a UFO, right? That's how we would look at it. But it does sound like the psychotronic weapons that we are developing today, doesn't it?
Are we developing psychotronic weapons?
You supposedly. I mean, okay. Yes, supposedly. I mean, I there's all kinds of things about programs that the military has, you know, where they could make you hear music in your head and shit like that, like for crowd dispersement. But I don't think they've ever used them. And for all I know, it's misinformation. Like that's what's fucked up about all of this stuff is you hear about the development about it. They are spending money on psychotronic weapons. Like that is officially known. The development of them, are they successful? Do they actually work? But
well, if someone could send us one, we could use it at Hall H and get in like easily. Like,
well, we're like
by the time they come back, we're already sitting down in the seat.
Our psychotronic weapon is J.J. Abrams with Baba Joe. and then Abrams just says, "Let's go down the street." We're having
Baba Joe's the poison.
Yeah, but yeah. So all of these dudes are just like super though, like freaked out by the presence, and you know these kinds of things will happen. Sometimes you will hear about like haunted houses. Everyone's like, it's a haunted house, but it turns out it has like really bad wiring. And the wiring, like in it's like having weird shit that fucks with your head. You know what I mean? And it kind of reminds me of that kind of stuff. But anyways, 10 days after the ranch episode, Keller received a call from Axelrod. He sounded puzzled, and he recounted that almost immediately after he returned home from Skinwalker Ranch, strange things began to happen in their home. Not to him, but to his family. And Axelrod recounted that on the previous night at about 2 a.m. while he was asleep with his wife, Ruth, she had seen a large black humanoid shape walking towards her in their bedroom. And this sounds, I think I saw this on porn. I think I saw this on porn. I think I saw this on Pornhub. Ruth did not scare easily, but she had felt alarmed and turned on the light, but saw nothing. 10 minutes later, she heard footsteps. And then so Ruth is like, what's going on here? You know, Ruth won't take it. It's Ruth Ginsburg. No, that wasn't that one. So anyways,
Ruth?
During a second call about a month later, Axelrod reported an alarming escalation in an anomalous activity at his home. All of the activity appeared to be directed against his family. On several occasions, Axelrod was out of town. Axelrod reported that while he was on one of his missions overseas, his 16-year-old son, Paul, woke up at night with multiple blue orbs flying around his room. Occasionally, one would fly very close to him. According to Paul, the orbs appeared to be moving under some kind of control. When he began yelling, his mother ran into the room, but the orbs were instantly gone. Even after the bizarre night with the orbs, Ruth continued seeing shadow-like figures in their home, and she routinely heard loud noises down in the kitchen after everyone had gone to bed. So we're talking about Tyrant is asking, what are we talking about? And we're talking about Hayden Christensen, our little Annie. He went to Skinwalker Ranch, and we're talking about the book Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, which is a pretty fun read if you are into that kind of stuff, though. I'm not, and for the record, I'm not endorsing the concept of Skinwalker Ranch or the Skinwalkers. I don't know. Like I'm completely like, when it comes to like this thing, it's fun in the sense, it's fun on a couple of multiple levels for me. The first way it's fun is it's this weird intersection between ghost and UFOs, and it paints the picture that these phenomenons are the same thing, in a way. At the same time, let's just pretend if you're a complete skeptic on everything, it's still a fascinating book because it shows how a huge grift is being hung upon the paranormal. Either it's the most amazing story, or it's how do military contractors use the paranormal to grift money out of the military industrial complex. Both are kind of fascinating, at least to me anyways. But and like I said, look at little Anakin. He's like, I'm gonna see a spaceman. You could tell he thinks he's gonna see a spaceman right there too. He's like, I'm gonna see a spaceman. Mike Zero said that we would be getting footage within a short number of days on one of his videos today. Nice. Aria says, are we seeing Vader's
footage?
Are we seeing Vader open his eyes in the thing at the end of episode 2, or was it 3? I believe it's at the end of 2. I think it should be the post credits. If nothing has changed, if the edit is the way that it was the last that I heard about, it should be the post credits to episode 2. So we'll see it on that first night. And then in episode 3, Darth Vader physically is put back together and he shows up. So, yeah.
He makes all those Michael Bay noises now.
Yeah.
They get real sound designy with it.
What do you think Ruth's favorite Star Wars movie was? If you just had to guess, like someone named Ruth. Like what is, Ruth doesn't watch Star Wars. She only reads the books. She thinks the movies are a bit pedestrian.
She only reads the High Republic books.
So, and then it goes on to talk about Ruth. Ruth's having a hard time, you guys. Okay, shit's happening to Ruth right now. Okay, Ruth. She walked out over to the window for a better look, then froze as she witnessed one of the most bizarre sights she had ever beheld. Standing upright and leaning against one of the trees at the perimeter of her yard was a huge wolf-like creature. Could be a Chewbacca. I can't confirm or deny it's a Chewbacca. She saw the creature plainly in the dim night light. It had long hair, and the creature looked like a wolf, but it was standing on 2 legs. Do you think it was the Wolfman from the cantina? You think he's just like, they cut me out of the movie. I need a place to crash.
Don't worry, you'll end up in the Mando.
Right. Oh yeah, he does, huh?
And yeah, he's back in Mando.
He's like, I'm back. Well, that's probably what happened. She probably, Ruth probably took him in, washed him, gave him a sensual bath, some dog shampoo.
I think Ruth likes Cookie Crisp. I know it's not Star Wars, but it's a cereal.
Yeah,
and
don't we all? It's like a
Coke. Yeah.
I will say, if I was on my deathbed right now and they were like, "What do you want to eat?" I'm like, "I don't know." And they're like, "You want a bowl of cookies and milk?" Just milk. I'd totally eat it. But if they brought me Cookie Crisp, I'd be kind of pissed because it's really not a bowl of cookies and milk. It's fake. It's visually a bowl of cookies and milk, but it's not a bowl of cookies and milk. Sorry. But it fooled me as a child. In my 40s,
You
and
want
I'm
to
all
know what
for
I
it.
did with my first allowance that no one could like? I
Yeah.
rode my bike before school across town, right? So this is really, I had to go all the way across town. It's a long ways, right?
Mhm.
So I got up around 6 a.m., got my bike, got with my
Right.
fucking $5. I got a bag of soft badge Keebler cookies, the red bag with the soft badge, came back home, crumbled it up, put milk in there to
Yeah.
taste if it tasted like Cookie Crisp, and it did not. It did not. I got the Chips Ahoy and the soft badge. They're each one like $1.89 or something. And I tried the soft and I tried the crunchy. It's not this. It's good, but it's just too much sugar.
Too much sugar. Yeah.
I wanted to vomit. Yeah, that's what I did.
Phil Spencer says Xbox just announced the Xbox and Bethesda showcase for June 12th. Do you think we'll get any news about an Xbox Bethesda Star Wars game or games? There's that rumor that's like going around that they have some sort of game coming that's like an MMO or something. I think that's that one. There's like so many games now, and I follow the game so loosely because like I said, I've been hurt before, But
Starfield is their open world sci-fi like Oblivion, but but in space.
I hope so.
Skyrim in space.
I want it. I want to know everything, but hopefully we do. But Tyrant's all I heard was I thought was blue orbs disappeared when his mom entered the room and thought Rob was talking about Na'vi 50 Shades of Blue fanfic.
Wow. I love how their favorite part of Boba Fett was when a blue alien showed up, but they're talking shit about my movie. Okay.
Hey.
They got blue aliens and they got a guy helping out another culture, and you complain about Avatar. Okay.
Whatever, man. The great white hero turns into
you're gonna get a whole second season of this shit. Can't wait.
But the creature appeared to be staring right at her. Its gaze was not friendly. She's like, "Oh, they cut me, and I haven't got the call from Filoni yet." She continued to stare at the eerie sight, trying to fathom the impossibility of an upright wolf-like creature in a quiet upper middle-class suburban Virginia neighborhood. The creature then took one last look at her, turned, and walked slowly on two legs further into the tree line. Within minutes, she had lost sight of it. She stood there for a long time, trying to determine if she had just had a very intense hallucination. So, yeah, I'm gonna guess so. I don't know. They do say like later on that they like found that there were
I'm hallucinating. But the
Yeah.
fact that we never got the Three Stooges go to Skinwalker Ranch just breaks my heart, right? I'm hallucinating. Oh, I'm seeing right? Like if I had a little Key and Peele money, that'd be the sketch I'd make.
Yeah. The Three Stooges versus Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. Let's do it.
It would start off like, "Hey, we need a job," and then they're like they apply for the job. They get the job getting to the ranch. It's like, "Hey, who put all those bulls in there?" And then they're shooting the shot at each other. Yeah, I'd watch that.
It's a blue orb. I feel like I'm in Avatar.
But the wolf returns. The wolf comes back, dude. The wolf isn't done. They call this the hitchhiker, like the hitchhiker phenomenon or whatever. So when Paul got up to stretch his legs, movement. So this is the sun, Paul. I think this is the sun. When Paul got up to stretch his legs, a movement in the yard caught his eye. and he gasps in astonishment at the sight of a huge wolf-like creature standing on two legs in the backyard staring straight at him. And then his brother jumps up and sees the 7-foot-tall wolf gazing menacingly at them. So this is like what they're kind of like calling like the hitchhiker phenomenon, and it almost sounds like it's like poltergeist like activity. But the thing to take into account is that Skinwalker Ranch is kind of known for the UFO thing. So it's this weird double-sided kind of shit. And I think it ties into the whole like Jacques Vallée thing. I really think that it, like when you take all of it down, it's like I think there's almost this underlying, I don't know, thesis or idea or concept that whatever it is that if it's real, let's just pretend it's real to go with the theory, with the concept, that there's like an intelligence that humanity encounters, and how it shows itself may have a lot to do with exactly with our understanding of reality, and that might be how it communicates with us. That might be, like we talked about before, why you have fairy stories that are exactly the same as UFO stories, of like the one that we like, with the one with the bread, with the little Italians and the
It's like the
spaceship.
time we saw a fairy. You saw a tooth fairy using him. So they pull out his teeth. Well, you go do the patrol. Tell you, writes itself, my friend. Writes itself.
Within a few months of his return from Skinwalker Ranch, every member of his family had experienced orbs in their home, seen dark humanoid creatures in their bedrooms, and heard multiple sounds of footsteps around the house at night. Ooh. So, yeah, like did you ever watch the Skinwalker Ranch TV show?
No. I mean, I've listened to George Knapp talk about it. And I bought his audio book. Is that the same one? Is it the one Knapp wrote?
No. Well, I think this is the sequel. Knapp is on this book too. I tried to get this one as an audiobook, and there wasn't an audiobook when I got this book. So I think you might be having the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. What's it? Hunt for the Skinwalker?
It was in my Audible.
Was it called Hunt for the Skinwalker? That was the one.
Hunt for the Skinwalker.
So Hunt for the Skinwalker comes out, and then that's when all of these people start looking. That's when all the people in the Pentagon and stuff like that start, like people in the military, start reading that book, and that brings a lot of new attention to the whole thing. So, and then this is so the gentleman in the photo. Hold on, let me see if I could pull it. Did I not give myself everything I meant to do? Yeah, like always, I constantly mess things up. But let me
Hunt for the Skinwalker by Colm A. Kelleher, PhD.
Yeah. So this one is by James T. Lakatsky, Colm A. Keller, PhD, and George Knapp. So this is like the like sequel, follow-up book or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? And
right.
Oh wow, hey, that's pretty. So Brandon Fugel is the guy who owns Skinwalker Ranch. For a long time, it was secret. And when Hayden goes out there and he visits, nobody knows he owns it yet, which I also think probably is indicative of Hayden being a huge UFO dude, because it means that he put it out there into the ether to get the contact. You couldn't just tweet Brandon Fogel at the time and be like, hey, I want to come out, like, you know what I mean? But his tweet at Brandon Fogel at Twitter says, the day Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker visited Skywalker Ranch back in 2019, before I went public and prior to the docuseries. Excuse me. So yeah, so I find that interesting. So if Hayden ever wants to come on the show and talk about UFOs, we're like ready. I hope he talks about going to Skinwalker Ranch. I have to assume he gave him permission to like put the pictures out. You know what I mean? But maybe he'll be in the next season of the show. The show itself is, it's a History Channel show. It's not completely as egregious as you will see a lot of like UFO shows get. I'm not like actually like not highly critical of it. It's just more like things happen in the show and then they're like dropped, but the edit doesn't allow for the explanation about why it was dropped. Or did they investigate that further? You know what I'm saying? Like there's this whole thing like what's under the ranch and stuff like that, and like there's a little stuff about digging, which I related to I connected to Poltergeist and wondered if Jacques Vallée had said something about digging and poltergeist activity to Steven Spielberg, because the movie Poltergeist, kind of all the activity starts when they start digging that fucking pool in the backyard. So it's like the there's a whole thing there. But anyways, so the dude in the first picture that we were talking about, he's a very, very well-off Mormon man. And it says, anyone who's looked at Mormonism at all understands that we believe there are other worlds. Reed told Knapp. I think that's Senator Harry Reid probably told Knapp in 2018. It's one reason people looked askew at Mormonism for a long time. They'd ask, are these people crazy? Taking about other worlds. I think that's a typo actually in the book. Talking about other worlds. Well, Joseph Smith came up with this idea. I think there is no question that there are other worlds. So yes, my religious beliefs are compatible 100%. So, but I mean,
this is the stuff they cut out of Book of Mormon, which I would have loved to. They got to do an addendum,
Yeah. Well,
put in the whole part where Joseph Smith comes down about Skinwalker Ranch and UFOs and shit.
Yeah. Well, it's I guess I'm gonna just be like devil's advocate here. Funny choice of words, I guess, considering I'm talking about religion. But what if all religions are getting at the same thing from different angles? That whole perspective, I find that kind of fascinating. Are most religions inspired by the phenomenon? Because they might be, or
well, they didn't have tax shelters back then. Otherwise, that's what would have inspired most of them. But I give you points, and in the beginning, perhaps there's something to all this. I wonder if Hayden got like pimped on the whole UFO thing from George on set. Like he comes in, and George's like, all this is real. He hands him like Tales of Power. He's handing him like books, like slowly working Hayden over the time.
Yeah. Shogun Orda is asking, he means Jordan Peele. He says, anybody hear about Jordan Peele's new UFO movie, Nope, about Skywalker Ranch? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for that movie. That movie looks
trailer's good.
Good
when
trailer.
I went to see Sonic 2, Sonic. No, I wanted to see Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. The trailer played with that. Yeah, that was good. Best trailer they showed.
Yeah. You could. I know you're the general viewer of it. I don't think even put together it was a UFO. They're like, why does a cloud have a kite? Is there a DeLorean in there from Back to the Future Part 2?
I fear to those who vaguely remember it, the average audience members, they're thinking of like that Shyamalan movie where they're afraid of the air.
Science?
Yeah, no, The Happening. Remember that one? Like the trees are blowing and shit. Like,
I told you about my experience with The Happening, right?
No.
Worst fucking thing that could happen to me. Waited my whole life for an Indiana Jones Part 4. I'm in the theater watching Indiana Jones Part 4. Indiana Jones Part 4 is happening. It's going on. It's on the screen. Indiana Jones, he's zipping and zooming all around this hangar thing with the Ark is in there and the Russians are there and I'm having a good time. And then all of a sudden, fucking Marky Mark is on the screen and he's like, but I'm a teacher. And it just starts. That movie wasn't even out. It wasn't even out yet. The movie didn't come. It was like they fucked up somewhere, like bad. And
they linked the reels to the right. Yeah, it just flipped. Yeah, it's great.
But like I said, that movie wasn't even out yet. So it was so the studio must have sent it somehow with the mix up. And then they come into the theater. They're like, "Look, here, everybody, you can have a free ticket to see a movie." And but sorry, there's just nothing that you can do about it. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I waited my whole life for this. I'm seeing the fucking movie. And then they ended up, like, it turned out that there was like a theater down the way. We ran into the other theater. It was like 10 minutes behind. I didn't miss anything. I was like, okay. So we just went and sat in there. But the best part was I went to that screening with 25 friends. And I bitched really hard. And the owner, I was a big Karen about this, and rightfully so. So they
it's called a Carl.
But do you know how many free passes I ended up with? I ended up with like 75 free movie passes. I did not pay for a movie for like 2 years. It was great. It was great.
Well, those passes don't work opening weekend though, right? You have to go like after. But...
No, these were the passes. These passes
the manager's
were anytime.
passes.
These were the Cinemark. Yeah. We don't fuck around passes. Anything I wanted.
Yeah. The Cinemark is the one that is right down from my house. It's literally 3 minutes away.
I like them.
They're good. They're good chain. Yeah, they're good chain.
They're my favorite one probably. The one in
I mean they don't overcharge, and they have great seats and good sound, and like I can't complain. You know what I mean? Like
like AMC is just AMC, but yeah, I plan on going to like see Nope. I mean, I think Jordan Peele's like fucking amazing. Like I hope that guy gets I would like to see what he does with Star Wars one day. I really hope he like does an episode of Mando at least. You know what I mean? It would be fun. You know what I mean? He's he's just so he's brilliant. I mean if you look at Key and Peele, and it's I think one of the best sketch comedy shows I could think of. It's up in my top, at least in my top 5 probably of sketch comedy shows. And every movie he's made has been like not a waste of time. And even if like it's not your favorite movie, it's still like that movie tried, or that movie thought itself out. Like that's how. Right. So I'm interested in that in the movie, because like it's fascinating, because like you have like the sister in the trailer who's selling like the family history. You could tell she wants to sell the idea of the ranch for the business. And then you have the brother. I think it's the brother. He could be her husband, but I think it's her brother probably, and he just is like, you could tell he's totally crushed by what is going on here about like about the selling out of either the place or the family name. Like I can't tell which. He does not seem happy in the trailer. And then and then we have like all these like UFOs, this UFO shit in the sky and everything like that. So yeah, my reading of it is that that's a Skinwalker Ranch allegory or something. I don't know.
Sky Tremors.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if it's just leprechauns in a cloud?
Well, I mean, but my whole thing
you can't
is
use Sharknado or
is
Leprechaunado.
Is it going to be what we think it is though? Like that's the
I don't know. Like indie cinema hits me one of two ways. Like either because indie cinema always has that weird thing where it wasn't what you thought it was, blah 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 blah, and it really is 50-50. You either you're on board with it or you're not. I've never been like a film where I'm like an indie film where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, sorta. So like 10 Cloverfield Lane, 100% love it. Like, didn't even need to be called Clover. It's so fucking good. I'm like, this is a Twilight Zone film. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
This is like, it felt like the first time I watched Terminator 1984. You know what I mean? Like, it has the same fucking vibe. Like, I'm like, these people should be making Terminator this shit. So,
and Obi-Wan Kenobi saw that, and he's like, I want to get that in a bunker. I get it. I know where he was coming from on that one.
Right. But then, I'll see something like The Green Knight and be like, I like the production. I like the actors. I like a lot of this, but the ending, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it was perfect.
So
it was the perfect film. Perfect, I say.
2 lines. So, but it's better than most. But then you end up with some weird shit like Lighthouse, where I'm like, look, man, they're just farting on screen for an hour. Like it's David Lynchian shit. It's not my cup of tea. So, it's one way or the other. I think what was it? Soundwave asked me if I enjoyed everything. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great movie. You know?
Yeah, it was fun.
And that definitely has a little bit of that. You know, what was that movie? What was the movie Sweeted? Remember where they made all those tapes? Where they made remember Jack Black? They made all those videotapes. They didn't have the movies.
Yeah.
You know, where like when George Wong's wearing that weird mech suit, that I guarantee you there's a whole nother thing that's cut out of that. You know, the Ratatouille stuff. Like that's the indie side where you're like, you got to be on board for that. You know, like it's fun. It's serious, but it's also fun, and that's a hard kind of humor to hit. You know, like effectively.
Yeah.
So, but I love it, and the daughter is straight up my cousin Rosie. Like that's. I mean, I don't mean like. I mean, like visual. Like I'm like the Lord made two of them. Like it's the weirdest. It was watching my cousin from 20 years ago. Like I was like, what the fuck is? You know, blew my mind. So cool movie, and of course, Short Round. You know, like gave me a tear.
Yeah,
you know?
I was
really be in this film though, man. They got a year. Like push around in indie. Let's do it.
Yeah, it is a big. I don't know. I don't know. I could theorize why he hasn't been in Indiana Jones films at all, but it's always, I don't know. Like it's not his fault that it like anything
He can
didn't work
act. He can
out.
do the special effect. He has the his. I don't understand. Like
Yeah,
this is just really bad call, man.
yeah.
You know. Yeah, Be Kind Rewind. I like the movie, but some people weren't up for the weirdness of that, you know, like that's a specific type of. I got friends, you know, that they like big budget, and then you take them to that, and then they're looking at me like, what are you fucking making me watch, you know? I'm like, this ain't no Greasy Strangler, my friend. This is tame. Like this
Yeah.
is easy fun, you know. So.
Greasy Strangler, great movie. So here we go. This relates to what you were saying a minute ago. Reading The Hunt for Skinwalker back in March of 2007 intrigued Lakatsky. So he says, I read the book cover to cover, Lakatsky says. I was legitimately interested in this as useful to the military and useful to my particular group, which was looking at possible threats to new weapon systems. That's what attracted my attention. So right there, we got our military guys. They're like, oh, how can we use this to blow things up? And stuff like that. That's kind of what brings these guys into this whole thing. And I will say, after I was just listening to what's his name, Madame Blavatsky or whatever, and Aleister Crowley and all of those guys, you know, they're all kind of like a bit shystery. And obviously, Skinwalker Ranch, like George Knapp, he says he's been to Skinwalker Ranch, but I don't think he says he's ever seen anything amazing. He's like, but I think he says stuff happened to his wife, but he's just like, I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, he says like, I think he said that like after he's been there, his wife has had, I'm pretty sure that I saw that on a video of him talking about that. But
what I like about George, he doesn't make up experiences. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It says, so
and
here,
he has the world's messiest office.
Yeah, me too. Yet within a mere 60 minutes of being so this is that military guy, Lakatsky. Yet within a mere 60 minutes of being on the Skinwalker property, he had seen clearly in broad daylight a technological device in the adjacent room within a few feet of where he stood. There was no blurry photo of a distant saucer in the sky. This was an in-your-face, up-close and personal apparition of some kind of technology. The fact
Free floating.
So the fact that he alone of the four people in the room had seen it was also not lost on Lakatsky. So, yeah, this kind of stuff though, it's just like you could say he's lying or he's crazy or whatever, but this is how it happens, right? Whether it's our brains, whether it's our brains firing off something in us that's just naturally part of our internal software. When you take DMT and you see the elves or the gnomes or whatever, things that are part of our software, so to speak, so part of the AI that runs human consciousness. You could take it like all kinds of different ways, but right there, so that's. But I just, like I said, I find this interesting because right here we have either Skinwalker Ranch wanting to show itself something to somebody, or we have a military guy who's like part of a really, really good grift. Oh, I saw something. Yeah, let's go through. Let's go through with the contract. Let's study it, or whatever. And they're like, all eating.
Last night, Darth Vader came into my room and told me he'd know my brain. Like, all right, Alessandro. All right.
Oh, I like this
Get
part
you
right
some
here.
money.
Later, while researching some of the approximation of what he had witnessed during the astonishing 2-hour interlude on the ranch, he came across a photograph of the album cover of Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells. There it was. The structure depicted on an album cover was not exact, but it was pretty close. So, and he was convinced there was some kind of significance to his vision. So, yeah. And then it talks about Senator Stevens, who experienced his own sighting of a UAP and as a World War II pilot with Senator, and he and Senator Reed were like buddies and stuff like that. But one thing that I find fascinating about this, and once again, I'm not trying to pick on the owner or anyone for their religion or anything like that. Like I've seen Brandon Fugel on like I think he was on a couple of UFO shows. I think he was on the UCR show. I saw him on the UCR UFO show, which I like. Those guys, they're pretty fun. And he was on their show, and he had like a fucking T1000 behind him, like a real one, or the T800, I should say, not T1000, T800 behind him, and he
Just
was a
had
little bit like
puddle of goop.
yeah. No, but he had like the T800, like the exoskeleton and shit like that. And I was like, that guy seems pretty cool. I kind of want to party with him. But the thing about it is, and the reason why I brought up that earlier quote from Senator Reed talking about Mormonism and that is, I guess at the end of the day, if they ever release their like data in any kind of like interesting, when I say interesting, I mean way that we could do something with, because that's the big thing about data from Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know what to do with it. Neither do you. Neither does anybody in the chat probably. Like the raw data means fucking nothing to anybody unless you're like a scientist and you know what
most
you're
of our
doing.
fans don't know what to do with this episode right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. But that's what like that's what you see people tweeting at him. Give me the raw data. And it's just like, what are you gonna do with it? You don't know what to do with it. And so anyways though, what was I going with that? Oh yeah, is that it? Like, I guess like the interesting question, I don't know if I necessarily believe this or agree with it, but does that mean if they ever do release it, will it be through the lens of the Mormon Church? Like that's one question I would love to ask him and not insult him. You know what I mean? I don't mean it in an insulting way, but like how do they ever release data moving forward without people not seeing it as Church of Latter-day Saints propaganda, so to speak? You know what I'm saying? Because and when they do release it, if they have to filter, they have to interpret the data that they release. How do they do so in a way that isn't through that lens, that is profitable or in their advantage? And that's where in a way I don't think that what they're doing is wrong from their perspective. I don't think it's like nefarious in doing that, but I do wonder if it means, once again, if that just becomes another hurdle. Is it a problem that it's going that way? I think that's something worth asking, because like, let's just pretend like they dropped the most fascinating data ever, but it's interpreted, and will they let anything come out that like let's say, I don't know what could go against the Mormon Church doctrine, so to speak, but what if it does? then do they not release it? Do you know what I mean? It's a complicated situation if you take it seriously. Like in terms of culture, religion, and science, I think. And the nerd in me is pretty fascinated by that bullshit. But
I don't know if they'll hide anything, man. You know,
yeah,
like I couldn't look. I can't even understand why they believe in half the shit they believe in. So I couldn't tell you what they would also try to cover up to prevent people from believing. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's a conspiracy within a conspiracy for me at that point. So
yeah,
I would assume if they felt it furthered whatever's in their book, they would just release it.
yeah.
You know, they need them.
Yeah.
They need them numbers. They got quarterly statements, Jays. They got a whole state to run on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, like that's, and I think that's how it would be viewed. But at the same time, I also think that when you get down to it, like look at what what's his name's been talking about. Like there's people that think the UFOs are demons. So if the U.S. government, for instance, started releasing their data, it's still going to be through some. There's still going to be a human on the other side with their own cultural beliefs, religion, ideas, or lack thereof, whichever. That's going to be interpreting that data as well, right? So I don't really see it as being a problem, but I do think that's kind of something that they may need to get ahead of in a way if they haven't.
Yeah, so we're dealing with half the country wants to say the other side is living off the blood of babies. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I just like all this theorizing made sense maybe in the 90s, but now I'm like, I don't fucking know, dude. You know what I mean? These people, I can't believe anything they say now. So
yeah. Oh yeah, this part was kind of cool. This is on the chapter about the first hire. That the Tic Tac case was an OSAP program. There's some shit about whether it was OSAP and ATIP and all that stuff like that. I honestly don't care. At the end of the day, I care about the stories that are related to it. I don't care if ATIP or OSAP had or who. It doesn't matter to me. Towards the end of the interview, yeah, Kurth dropped a bombshell. He explained that in his previous career, he had been the commanding officer of the Red Devils, a Marine Corps FA-18C squadron that was part of the USS strike group Nimitz, southwest of San Diego in November to December 2004. Kurth went on to describe in detail his participation in what has now become known as the Tic Tac event, arguably in 2021.
Yeah, Chris Vito covers this pretty well.
Mm-hmm. The most famous UAP case in the world. Keller listened intently as Kurth described in a measured tones how about 30 minutes after being airborne from the Nimitz carrier on a beautiful cloudless day, he received a radio call asking him to investigate an unidentified airborne contact. As Kurth approached the 15 nautical miles from the reference point, he descended through 15,000 feet and saw a rather large disturbance in the ocean surface. Kurth emphasized that the seas were surprisingly calm that day with rolling swells, but no surface waves. So, and then, but that's what I find interesting is right here. They talk about the ocean before. When you hear the official stuff about it, they don't talk about what happened in the ocean before. It's been there. It's out. It's been out. It's in the book and everything like that. But when you hear it, generally speaking, there's like, we were flying, we saw this thing, but it actually starts. And then is Kurth, is that a pseudonym for what's it for Favor and what's his face? Because they sound like, I think these might be pseudonyms in the book. But
I don't know, but the dude's come out, you know what I mean? Like he's giving interviews and shit. Like he was on 60 Minutes or whatever.
Yeah. But you know, like when the book was being written, they were probably using pseudonyms, or it was a different pilot who saw it first, and that's the person who's talking. But
it was him and his co-pilot they had on the CNN, right?
Yeah. She seems to be having lately was having a pretty bad time with the UFO community because she's pretty and people are weird.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like harassment and shit. Soundwave says, I worked for Cinemark for one day laugh out loud horrible company. Yeah, I
I didn't
can't
say they were a great employer. I said they were a good for me to go see a movie.
it is a good place to see a movie. I can't lie, but I also can say probably wouldn't want to work there either. Hey Tibor, how's it going, dude? And once again, thank you Tibor for being a channel member and Soundwave. I feel like when it comes to serious questions, I must take a side. I'm Team Rob on the Mummy and Avatar. Hey, you know what? I will always be team liking something. It's more fun to like stuff.
To the theaters this year. All your shit's delayed, folks. All your Star Wars shit's been delayed. But I get to go to the theater this year and see 2 Avatar films.
Yeah.
Right? I get to see my remaster and a sequel.
Right.
Oh, by the way, they have these renders, out. These concept renders for the film, and people are like, it looks like a video game. I'm like, that's not a frame from the film, guys. That's their production concept renders. They haven't put any. Go look at one frame from the first movie and look at the render and see the difference in between a film shot and a fucking render. People.
Well, I'm gonna get an Abyss shirt. I'm gonna show up to Avatar 2 with my arms crossed, and I'm gonna say
it's the best UFO film.
I'm gonna say
it's the best UFO film. The Abyss,
Flight of the Navigator is pretty good. Flight of the Navigator.
No, the design of Flight of the Navigator, the concept, the whole film, brilliant idea. Like I fully support a reboot or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
If she puts in the UAP shit we know today, or as I was saying,
Bryce Dallas Howard is what we're talking about.
As we said before, the biggest problem with Flight of the Navigator is that movie takes place it starts in 1978. And there ain't no fucking way a kid who's 11 or 12 saw Star Wars, ends up in a UFO, and ain't fucking making Star Wars puns and jokes every 3 seconds. That movie should have been set in 1976 during the bicentennial, so that kid couldn't make all them Star Wars references. It's the one thing where I'm like, just why? It takes place before the time. Why did they set it in 1976? I don't understand.
When that movie came out, though, Star Wars was effectively dead. Like you know what I mean? Like at that point, we were the weirdos for.
But that kid,
I know.
78.
I know.
There's no way.
But that kid's an Avatar.
Just saw Star Wars.
That kid's an Avatar for the 1987 kid, not.
No, he isn't, because he couldn't stand the she brings in a fucking whole truck full of Transformers toys in the box, and he wasn't interested.
Rob, why?
He's listening to the Beach Boys.
Rob,
bullshit.
Rob, why is Twisted Sister the coolest band in '87? It wasn't.
Because he was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Because he was in Pee-wee's they were in Pee-wee's Big Adventure and had a great scene. That's why.
Yeah. Twisted Sister just kind of like came and went, and Snyder, he never left. That's I give that guy credit. He's
fighting the right wing trolls on Twitter. God
is
bless
he really?
him.
Is he actually? Is that what he's up to?
Yeah, all the time. Nice. Yeah, you should follow him. It's great.
Oh, in other UFO news, did you see that fucking shit about Sammy Hagar from Van Halen being abducted by aliens? Like what? I heard there's like a whole he has like a whole testimonial.
That explains Van Halen 3.
I don't. When does is he in? Is he in on Van Halen 3?
I don't know. I like For Unlawful whatever, stupid fucking name for an album, but I like that whole album despite what people say. I enjoy it. So
I have only recently been able to start to appreciate what is appreciable about Van Halen. You know what I mean? Because
you want to hear some great Van Halen, maybe you're not into, but you would like this, is just listen. He teamed up with Mark Mancina on the score to Twister. And at the end of Twisters, there's just this great montage of like clouds and shit, and the dude fucking plays the guitar over it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that the score to Twister is insanely fucking good. Like, say what you want about the film, the score is amazing. Like, it's super fucking badass.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I actually never saw Twister.
Fun. It's Bill Paxton. How can you not get a kick out of it now?
Yeah.
Make Twister with UAPs and have them race
around. Look at fucking I'm just saying, why does YouTube feel that alien abductions are something to really be like, we need to get the truth out about that? of all, or you know what I mean? To be like,
right.
of
Meanwhile,
all
all the Russian disinfo is unchecked. You know.
yeah, it's really weird that that's the one.
Or-
I just have my experiences. And
Wait, hold on. You know what? I don't know if I have. I don't think I have the sound shared. But hold on, I'll put it. Yeah, but yeah, he talks. He seems sincere. Like he's not. He believes what he's saying. You know what I mean?
okay.
Yeah. At least that was my. You know, I don't really think Sammy Hager really needs to start lying about being abducted by UFOs for attention. But
does Sammy Hagar need to?
dimensions. I
you
know
know.
there's ghosts and I know there's UFOs.
Can you guys hear it?
What it all means.
Do you think it's possible we can get him and the dude from Blink
Right.
182 in a band now? Like it's just the believers, you know,
I'm sure.
true believers, whatever you want to call them. You know?
True believer, yeah.
The onion
Yeah.
nutties, whatever you do.
And I hadn't thought about. I didn't plan on doing this show today. Obviously, it kind of just like fell into our lap. But
Yeah, it's messing with your playback a little bit.
yeah, I'm trying to find the thing that I saw. There's just like rock channel that I follow on my like account that I actually watch stuff at that home, and they like edited it really nicely, where it was just like. I guess he's been talking about this for like some time, and I just didn't see it, but I guess he just recently started talking about it again. But yeah, but he basically just says that he was like sleeping with his I'm gonna guess then wife. I'm just gonna assume that he wasn't famous yet, so the marriage probably didn't last. And I think that's a safe assumption if you're an 80s rock star. And but he basically just says that like he felt like a cord. He said he's all like, this is before Wi-Fi, and I had this like I felt like I was connected to these aliens. He's all, I don't think they picked me because I was special. He's all, but I kind of think the experience made me special because I had it. But he says that he felt like connected, and then they like looked out the window and he could see like a UFO like out on a like on the horizon on the hill, like on a hill or something like that. He felt like they were scanning his brain and taking data from it. He felt like he said this is a concept he had never even considered before, but he felt like looking at it now, he feels like his consciousness was being uploaded. He says then his room fills with this like white light. He sees these like basically, I think he says like little aliens, like grays or big or something like that. And then and then it's like
we were looking for David Lee Roth. Shit, you know.
Yeah. Oh no. we are looking for the one who jumps. This one is slow. This one cannot drive 55.
Which would he use was in Better Off Dead? You know, like no, was it Better Off Dead, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
With the claymation sequence.
Oh,
Everybody wants some. Yeah.
Yeah. So Will Morgan says Canadian scientist Michael Perslinger took all this data and put it into one of those Oregon Trail computers in the 80s. Turns out that stuff happens a lot on fault lines, electromagnetic. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the like that kind of stuff where you do have the places where people like will like hallucinate and shit. Like there's that one place out like near like the border of Mexico that's a lot like Skinwalker Ranch too, but it's where that where we dropped that nuke, lost it. Yeah. And out there it's like a radar dead zone, I guess they call it. Like out there, like instruments don't work and electromagnetic activity and shit fucks with things. So Soundwave says they all set their theaters on a -7 volume. Boo. What does that mean? Like the sound is too loud? Or it's too low,
No,
I mean?
not too low. Yeah, so I don't know about that. The IMAX had it here the last time I was there was good, but when I went to go see Black Panther in IMAX 3D, they left the lights on.
Yeah.
And I was like, no fucking way I'm doing this in a 3D fucking screen. I went out there and raised fucking, and the dude wouldn't do shit to me. So I fucking called, the number, and I took it took it up a level. And then the fucking manager calls me and tells me, you don't call the number, you call me. I'm like, motherfucker, I will put my boot down your fucking throat. You fucking telling me what to do. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, I mean, I get real fucking New Yorkie, you know? Tell me who I'm gonna fucking call, you know?
Tell you
Just turn the lights off when the movie starts, nitwit.
You to eat square pizza.
It's not hard. Jesus fucking Christ. So, but the one near my house is a different theater. It's a different location. They're great. I can't speak for any other Cinemark, but the one near my house,
yeah,
they're perfetto.
The ones out here are both the ones. A couple I've been to have all been nice.
He called me like he was like an abusive boyfriend. It was the best. I just sat there, I'm like, this motherfucker, you know. You watch the podcast. You know what you're unleashing.
You call him. Wasn't Fire in this, or what about Fire in the Sky? Laughing my ass off. I like. It's weird, man. Like in some ways, like I do like that like movie, but then it's
the front end of it is great.
The drama of it is good. Like the drama, but then if you divorce it from anything that's supposed to be true, the alien sequence
part
scared the shit out of me. I mean, it's terrifying, you know, and that part of it, I mean, so it's like it's weird, but when you get down to it, but then when you go and you read like Travis Walton's account or you listen to his account or whatever, and then you're like, that's not how it was at all for him. That's not what he ever said happened or how he said it happened. And so it's definitely, I feel, I could be wrong, but I feel like there was that made for TV movie. What was it called?
Betty and Barney Hill?
No, it wasn't that one.
James Earl Jones?
Intruders was I think maybe the first alien gray abduction kind of media to hit, you know, like in a big way. It was a mini series. It probably doesn't hold up for shit today, but it was terrified me as a kid. And then I remember Fire in the Sky comes out, and I feel like Fire in the Sky was like, we need to tap into that part of the phenomenon that they were talking about on, what was that show, Sightings on Fox and all that stuff, where they were all that shit was being covered.
Stack. Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries. And so you Magnus, so I feel like they
Ultra Magnus.
Hollywood tried to like update it, but then also make it terrifying at the same time.
But they did exactly what Bob Lazar would say. They want to turn me into a movie, and I want them to be exactly the way it was, and I refuse to sign the script until. So they made me like, that's what they wanted, turn into some. And so the reality of what those guys testified to, the experience on the ship, Travis Walton, was just fucking not. It's weird. It's tall elves, you know, human looking elf dudes, and you know, Elrons and shit. And like Legolas's and like chrome fucking spaceships. It's not, you know, a movie. You know?
Well, what if we got Brandon Fugel and we're like, Brandon, we need a lot of money to make a Bob Lazar movie. And he's like, okay. He said, I'm going to finance it. What we do is we do the bait and switch on Bob Lazar. We go to make the movie. Everything lines up, right? But in every single scene, every single time Bob Lazar's in a car, it's the rocket car. We don't have to put that in the script.
Max has to play Bob Lazar, though. She has to.
She has to play Bob Lazar.
Because she's the best driver. You know what I mean? And I just want, like, every time she sees a UFO, I want her legitimate reactions.
Mm-hmm.
This shit for real? Like, sorry, it's real, man. I think Max is like the most like out of the Ghostbusters, she's like Winston, right? Like she's just like, oh, I'll just believe whatever you want. But I think, you know, like I've seen shit that will turn you white. We're all willing to believe it. She's, I don't know.
Was Twisted Sister and Iron Eagle? I know Queen's one vision was. That's what.
Oh, it's when they're stealing the plans. That we're not going to take it. When they're going to the. the Air Force Base, and they're getting the different things they need to get all the data to do the mission. We're not gonna take it. By the way, the kid with the glasses, the blonde hair, that's the voice of Michelangelo from the Turtles movie.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
And one of their friends played the sidekick in Who's Harry's Crumb. Because I had a crush on her. I was like, I don't know who that chick is. She's hot. And then when I saw Who's Harry's Crumb, I'm like, oh, it's the Iron Eagle girl. Yeah.
Gary Sharon was the best singer of Van Halen, says James. James, you're allowed to be wrong. Yeah.
No one even knows who Gary Sharon is.
Extreme, More Than Words. That was his contribution with Nanu.
It's Sharone, like the song. My Sharone.
Sharone.
Boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom.
The singer in Van Halen is Gary Sharone. Do 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 do.
Yeah,
stupid. Good. It's good for a bit.
Yeah. I remember this really funny Nirvana moment where they were talking about Extreme. They're like,
now
yeah.
I want to see Max drive a rocket car. Hold on, I just got that. You know what it is? It's not the scene from Batman. That's too violent. It's that music video you sent me where the guys in the desert driving that rocket car. And
oh yeah, that was rad.
I can see Max going like, you know, like Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, and Mohawk could be like her sidekick character that we put into it. Balthazar doesn't see it coming. He'll be like, yeah, this is the movie, and then it comes out.
Dog's hanging its head out the window with the flaps going like in Ren and Stimpy. Yeah. So I guess did Gary Sharon never make an album with Van Halen? Is that true?
I guess not. I guess there was a bunch of stuff. I don't know why today's Van Halen day here. I don't even really like Van Halen really, but I saw last night that I guess like Eddie Van Halen's son and Alex Van Halen were talking to, I think it was like Joe Satriani, I think, to play guitar on like a tour, like a Van Halen tour, and they were asking Jason Newsted from who used to be in Metallica, to be the bass player. It's all supposed to be like a secret, but Jason Newsted like told everybody, and it's like I said no, I won't do it.
Van Halen and Sammy Hagar got me to drink a lot of Crystal Pepsi. I won't lie, it was my favorite. I was the Crystal Pepsi kid, and then when they got rid of them, I'm like, fucking figures, you know. Matter of fact,
I bought right now. Batman. Was that right now? Was that the Right Now song?
Yeah, Right Now.
Right now.
So I was listening to that nonstop in 92, 93, up until the Crow soundtrack came out, and then I ditched all that. I went hard. The
Crow was for you, the Crow's what brought the 90s in, really? The 90s began.
Yeah, then Stone Temple, and that was it for me. Bro, I lived in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have access to a lot of stuff here, all right? It's the best I could do. I still had vinyl. Like a Slick Rick album was the best I had. Like
it holds up.
So
it holds up.
Yeah, Slick Rick is fucking awesome. But the whitest kid buying that at Tower Records in LA, I assure you. Mm-hmm. And in Cerritos. Anyhow, but what I was saying is I was listening to that album nonstop, and then a couple years ago, this, Nightfall, the Batman Nightfall, he wore this big armor. He had his big blue and gold armor. It's a different Batman. It's all evil and shit. I bought the I got one statue, bro. It's a giant fucking like 1/6 scale fucking Nightfall. It's like,
and it fell down, and then you glued it stick.
No, I got it all secure. But I was building that and listening to but I was putting it together. I was listening to that Van Halen album nonstop. Just like making that. I was like Teenage Rob, as I'm putting it together, and I got all my comics back on them. When my wife comes in there, she's like, I just feel like I walked into your your dream bedroom when you were 13. I'm like, oh yeah. I just need some Crystal Pepsi.
Did you ever see Shogun says the Fourth Kind movie is about aliens? Also crazy. Did you ever see that movie? I've seen it I've seen it like for like streaming, but I never watched it. No. Like it's kind of weird. If all of that shit's real, if it is what it seems like and stuff like that, you could go a couple different ways in the perspective. But you do, if you like look up like all of UFOlogy, ufology, if you want to say it that way. when you look at it all, it's like people have good experiences, people have bad experiences on it. So, I think it's always like a bit hippity dippity when you see the people going like, they're here to tell us to save our environment. I'm not sure I buy that one.
The only
whatsoever.
UFO movie I can watch on a loop is The Abyss. I like Close Encounters, but that the fucking tune, it just gets old, and just the ending, I can't sit through that 100 times. Like it's too much. But The Abyss, yeah, and I like where they bring it up. They're trying to help us, man, and they're like, I don't know. So I like that it doesn't quite answer any of that shit. So
I'm a Close Encounters of the Third Kind man myself, but I don't think Close Encounters of the Third Kind answers the question: did they cut Richard Dreyfuss up 2 minutes later after the movie ended? They may have. You can't prove otherwise.
That would have been baller when they forced Spielberg to film that interior scene for the Laserdisc release or the re-release or some shit like that. It was the re-release, and so he made a deal that he would do it if he got the cut scenes, like the desert shit, all that shit put back in the film, and and they do the inside, it's dumb, but it would have been great if he had filmed it and they get him in there and then just strap him to a gurney and start razor blading him and shit. They pull out all that tool set that the Joker's physician, has.
No, I want the song from Reservoir Dogs Stuck in the Middle with You to start playing while the aliens are like with the little lasers cutting off his ears and shit.
Come or just the theme to fucking Three's Company. Come on, knock on our door. We've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Three's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Doo-doo.
Tyrant says, I watched Sonic 2 with my daughters this past weekend at Cinemark. Great experience and good movie despite some people who hate fun. That's Rob. Rob fucking left. Rob straight up fucking texted me.
I left.
I'm on my way home. They could take my ticket money, but they can't take my time.
They can't take my time. I went home and I watched Dragon Ball. I watched Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai. So
okay, fair enough. Yeah,
it's two turtles, two Secret of the Ooze for me compared to the first film. So sorry, folks.
I never saw the first one, so I'm okay. But I'm glad Tyrant had a good time. Will Morgan says Whitley Strieber's Communion 86 through 89 was your first real big gray movie that changed the culture through the 80s. Also, he matched aliens with the Fae folk. Yeah, the Whitley Strieber stuff is like that one is just. I was actually like looking up. I was like looking up UFO show ideas weeks ago now, and I was like, where did all of the butt stuff come from? Everybody loves butt stuff. Let's look into that, and it's basically Whitley Strieber just going like you can't take my asshole, and like he like loves it. You can tell it's like they stick a thing up his ass and make him shoot, and then he's like, "Oh, you bastards, you sons of bitches!"
Have you played South Park? The Stick of Truth,
Fractured Butthole?
No, the first one, Stick of Truth.
Oh, Stick of Truth, yeah.
Where his dad is gets abducted, and his Stan's dad's up in there, and they're pulling out the probes, and like it's not enough. He's like, "Yeah, give me more," and then they pull out the big black one, and he breaks it in his ass. Like he's too prepared. That fucking game. You could honestly just leave a long play of any one of those games together, and you get a really good, like South Park, 2 South Park movies.
Yeah. But anyways, as I was looking into it, that's sort of where this kind of like goes, is that you just kind of have like Whitley Strieber, and then you have South Park making the redneck jokes, and then it does seem like South Park may have been sort of the attribution to the redneck anal probe, and that coming from Whitley. You know what I mean? That seems to be kind of how it got into the pop culture. Because
I will probe your ass.
Well, I thought it would be hilarious to go and find all of these ass probe stories and to do a whole fucking ass probed alien episode. Turns out, not really as prevalent as you'd think. As I was looking, maybe I don't know where to find alien ass these days. I don't know, but as I was looking, I wasn't really finding
James.
James.
I'm
James
just
is
asking.
all Gary
asking
Sharon's the best alien ass I know of. He was an extreme.
Not when I'm drinking coffee. Everybody wants some.
But yeah, but anyways, the Communion movie, terrible movie though. Terrible movie. And I actually had a hard I didn't see it when it came out. It was when it was on video. I go to the video stores with friends. I was trying to wanted to rent it. They would never watch it. They would never rent it. So it wasn't a movie I actually grew up with. Saw it a bit.
He wrote
late
The
in the line.
Global Coming Superstorm with Art Bell, Whitley Strieber, right?
Did he?
co-wrote that, like 2012. That movie is loosely based on in some way
okay.
or whatever. But yeah, The Global Coming Superstorm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I find it like I find like that aspects of it to be like, if we look at the phenomenon as not real, you have people like Whitley Strieber. I don't know. Stryber or Strieber? I don't know. I've always said Stryber.
Art Bell used to say Strieber.
Strieber, okay.
He could be
He would know.
pronouncing that incorrectly the whole
He's Art
fucking
Bell.
time.
I'll go with Art Bell. You know, you're like, I'll tell you one thing about here: birds aren't real. But anyways,
Don't get Art on the time change, you know.
Oh shit.
Those are the best episodes. Go find every time change episode of Coast to Coast with Art Bell and just watch him go fucking nuts for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I don't blame him. But anyways, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, but yeah, Aliens and the Fae Folk thing is I don't know if did Strieber did he make the connection, or was that from Jacques Vallée? Because I feel like Jacques Vallée may have kind of touched on that first, but I don't know.
Never read Strieber's book. Couldn't tell
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyways, oh yeah, what I was saying was what I find fascinating is like if you look at his story and Sammy Hager's, they are both like in sleep and then it happens. That's one of the things. So if you want to look at it as if it's not real, there's something that happens to us that could be happening to humans as they are sleeping. That's not supernatural. That's just that's very natural. And but why do we trip out like that? Why do we have this sort of, you know, I guess you could get into like collective consciousness ideas. You know what I mean? Like kind of like that we're hardwired to sort of see these symbols, and you know, it's kind of all of that. We still need to do that episode where we talk about collective consciousness, Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell, because there's so much overlap between symbols and all of this stuff, and in the monomyth for the Star Wars shit. You know, it all definitely like connects. But
monomyth's what happens when you kiss a Bigfoot and you get sick.
Luke Miller says, do you think Vader's voice will be James Earl Jones or a synthesized voice? I personally think they could have Jones voice all the lines and make it sound younger by some sort of synthesizing it.
Jason, I'm praying every day. I'm not a holy man, you know this, but every day before I go to sleep, I pray they're using a speak and spell. You know,
Right.
like I want to speak and spell. And why they didn't have a Darth Vader speak and spell as a kid, I'll never know. Miss licensing opportunity.
And 3PO, Vader and 3PO, that would definitely have been. But
And
yeah,
R2-1 where it just bleeps and blurps just to be
So-
a dick.
I'm just gonna throw it out there that it's either it's likely going to be Scott Lawrence, who's the voice of Darth Vader in Vader Immortal, and I believe in Fallen Order, or it's going to be James Earl Jones. And
It's my hope for.
I don't think there's going to be
Vader
any
Immortal.
kind of like let's make it sound younger or do anything like. I don't think they're going to fuck with what's sort of established, and so we will see where it goes. But Tyrant says also made for TV movies are some of the best story retelling because they don't have the financial bearing that the theatrical releases did. See Pirates of Silicon Valley, all their Steve Jobs movies. Oh yeah, no, but I mean, especially now. But like when you were like in the 90s, like that movie Intruders, I was saying like it was terrifying when it came out, but I think it's probably funny today. I'll have to watch it. I think I found it on YouTube.
Yeah, Tyrant, that must be recent because you never had to sit through the Generation X or Nick Fury films in 1996. Sometimes having to recoup your money is a good fucking thing.
James says the best alien asses in Santa Fe. Ask for Zagnar. Okay. Tyrant says Sonic 2.
That's the comment of the day.
Tyrant says Sonic 2 was your typical sequel, not as good as the original, but still fun. And then Shogun
I
says
get why people like it. I just I promised myself in 1991 I'd never sit through another ninja rap. And I'm sitting in the theater and I'm like, this feels like Turtles 2. If there's a ninja rap, I'm getting at it. And they get into a dance off and I'm like, I'm out. I gotta be out. So not doing it.
Shogun says that's sleep paralysis. Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like I've had sleep paralysis, and where I knew that like it wasn't really that big of a deal, and it was like and then but also I've had it where it does happen, and I feel like I start to feel like a demon is sitting on my chest and I can't get up, and then I will literally get so fucking angry and ready to attack and tear apart this demon that I do actually fucking wake myself up. I've actually like had it happen where I've gone from that to a leg cramp, which is strange. But
yeah, I had that. I had the last time I had it when I was a kid a lot. The last time I had it was in 2003 or 4-ish when I lived in that I was sharing an apartment with my roommate, and I had this weird fear that his life was in danger. And like I had to but I couldn't move, and like I was just screaming until finally like I screamed myself out of the paralysis. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
that's exactly.
Yeah, that's
my anger was literally I'm William Wallace going into fucking battle, like kind of thing that brings me out of it. Yeah,
that's it.
So like so I completely believe and know that sleep paralysis is a
not
thing.
To be confused with ship paralysis when you're stuck on the can and you can't you gotta go but you can't go, and you're like you're trying. No dice.
But there's definitely, I mean, but at the same time, like those moments are so simple, and then you end up with these other versions of it. I mean, is it just a wild side dream that occurs during? It very well may be. Either way, it's fucking, or it's something else. You know, it's fascinating and fun either way. Tyrant says, pretty sure we were joking about alien probes in the 80s and 90s before South Park show. I feel like you're right there too. I do. I feel like that was like when South Park did it, it was already something that we were like all already doing. But I think it was the butt stuff came from Stryber, and then we had these hicks going like, I saw a UFO, man, and then South Park married them. And then that
nobody talked about anal probing from aliens in the 80s. I mean, it would have been in Married with Children in the Alien episode. Like it would have been
fair enough.
like
Fair
100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely Tyrant. If you're bored, and you ever look up and you find some examples, send them my way, because it would be fun to just to like look at the stuff. Because I mean, you can look at it as in it's legit, or how do modern myths form, you know? And I think that's fascinating. Will Morgan says Valet's passport to Magonia is from the 60s. Stryber talks about it after. Environmental messages are also dependent on the idea that fairies are tied to nature. Think Ferngully. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I read through Passport. You get the PDF on just by Googling it and open it up right now and just start reading it. And definitely a lot of like fun, like just to see like how these ideas ring true. Like in a weird way, what he's doing there is what Joseph Campbell did with using Carl Jung and myth, and putting those things together. It's basically Jacques Vallée doing that with do it from the other side, but with you in UFOs. Will Morgan says Stryber wrote Day After Tomorrow with Art Bell, and lots of his experiences have to do with environmental messages.
Day After Tomorrow, that's the one.
Day After Tomorrow. Yeah, like it would. I hope if we are being visited by another consciousness, I do hope it has our best interests in mind, and it cares and stuff like that. But as we talked about a million times, all of the evidence points to largely towards ambivalence, with a couple of times like the Zimbabwe incident where they're telling some kids, "Hey kids, you know," but that was that a message for the planet, or was it literally just two random, if it's real, was it just two random beings that are just saying something nice to children like clean your room? You know what I mean? Like it's a, but we talked about, like, they haven't stopped any of our nuclear disasters. They didn't stop Chernobyl. They didn't stop Fukushima. They didn't. There's more just hands off.
They didn't
and
intercede
ambivalence.
during Vietnam.
Yeah,
You know,
they're not saving the Ukraine right now. You know what I mean? It's
no show of force when we invaded Iraq twice. I mean, well, you know,
yeah.
sorry, we didn't invade Iraq the first time. My bad. We stopped at the border. Went back.
But
Whatever.
it ends up, yeah. So it's like when you do hear the hippity dippity stuff, I wish it was true. I appreciate their really, I don't know what you want to call it. Is it a positive outlook? I guess. I mean, that's kind of, you know, they're hoping for the best from these things, but also it doesn't really seem like the evidence doesn't really point in that direction. It just seems more like, and you know, when you hear all of the stories about the different types of, like, you look at the grays, honestly, you hear the stories of the grays and you look at them, they seem like they're almost like insects. Like they don't really seem to have feelings, like fish, to quote the Nirvana song. But they don't.
I can relate.
I don't have feelings either.
No
That's
real
why I wrote
feelings.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, you got to suppress your feelings and no attachments.
We need to record George Lucas singing Something in the Way.
I've always saw myself as a Bruce Wayne type, like to wear eye makeup.
But, well,
Listen to
anyways,
Nirvana.
yeah.
Hey,
We'll leave everybody with this bit of truth. The best alien ass in Santa Fe. Ask for Zachnar. It's in
Good one,
Santa Fe.
James.
Yeah, and we will be back on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If any big breaking news happens, I'll jump back on. Don't worry. And yeah, we'll have a good time. And
well, we brainstorm Gremlins 2.
Gremlins 2. Yeah. Watch the Key and Peele Gremlins 2 sketch if you never have. It is so
He's
good.
playing the dude from Mannequin, right?
Mhm.
He's got to be. That's the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
So good.
It's like, all right.
Get the fuck out of my house.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.